Vanakkam, selamat sejahtera, ni hao, hello, hi there, and I'm here in your ears, going to your head through your heart. I'm your lovely favorite friend, Tamil, a fan of you. To media, media, media. Media makes the world. If you are listening to this podcast, you're also one of the victim. Ha 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 ha. Just kidding. As we all know, media is the king or queen maker. They can make a false become a true, and a true become a false. Meaning that whoever controls the media, they controls the mind. Because their influence is everywhere. They tell us what to do, what to think, even how to think it. At this point, media is constructing an important element in social construction, which is gender identity. An unanswerable question is who they are to stereotype man should be strong, woman should be soft. So, this is our topic for today media and gender identity. Woo! For that, we are having three special guests. First is Natalia, a social scientist, and second and third, both are media analysis, Mary and Bertha. First of all, I would like to thank the guests for coming to our studio. Without wasting our time, my first question is no, I know I am quite fast, but we are eager to know regarding this topic. So, Natalia, can you please explain the term or principle widely used in gender and identity?
Thank you, Tamil. I bet every one of you knows about feminism, masculinity, and LGBTQ. So let me explain. Feminism is manifest worldwide and is represented by various institutions committed to activity on behalf of women's rights and interests. Feminism is an interdisciplinary approach to issues of equality and equity based on gender, gender expression, gender identity, sex, and sexuality as understood through social theories and political activism. Meanwhile, masculinity is defined as qualities and attributes regarded as characteristic of men. When we talk about masculinity, we are talking about person gender. Gender is a social construct and is one of many ways we as human make a meaning and create social structure. A person's gender is based on how society sees them as a gender being. After that, LGBTQ. You know that right, huh? LGBTQ is an abbreviation that stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning among others. The initial LGBT or GLBT are not agreed to by everyone that they encompass. For example, some argue that transgender and transsexual causes are not the same as that of lesbian, gay, and bisexual people. This argument centers on the idea that being transgender or transsexual have to do more with gender identity or a person understanding of being or not being a man or a woman irrespective of sexual orientation. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. It gives us a clear view on gender identity. But how does this gender identity is being portrayed in media, especially in film industry? Mary, can you please enlighten us?
People read or hear about a sexual orientation or gender identity from any types of platforms such as television, radio, films, and so on. They automatically assume the subject is LGBT. While this is understandable given that the terminology was created to combat discrimination on these grounds, it falls short of mentioning that every human being has a sexual orientation and a gender identity. Sexual orientation answer the question of who we are sexually attracted to and with whom we want to have romantic relationships. But have you ever considered how our country compares to other countries on this issue of media and gender? Okay, Malaysia, for example. Malaysia may still be resistant to showing this side, for example, in movies or film. However, some Malaysian directors are brave enough to include scenes like transgender, for example, such as Buka Api or Maknya in 2000, which is directed by Osman Ali. And this is actually intended to educate people about the maknyas. As in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur authorities banned the film from screening in regular cinema. But in other countries, especially Western countries, will be open to that kind of film like LGBT, masculinity or feminism. Let's take Argentina as an example. They are open to this issue, and in 2012, they were able to easily change the gender on their national identity cards, like with a simple declarations. But our gender identity, on the other hand, refers to how we perceive ourselves as gendered individuals. Feminism, in general, can be characterized as a movement to end sexism, sexist exploitations, and oppressions, and to achieve full gender equality in laws and practice. The characteristic of masculinity shows strength, courage, independence, leadership, and assertiveness, or the social expectation of being a man. Here are some suggestions of film or movie examples that can be defined in terms of feminism, masculinity, and LGBT in Western countries. Consider Heartstopper, one of a series of sweet and innocent adolescent love stories about two teen boys who have a crush on each other and decide to be in a special relationship.
Wow, it was a superb sharing. I know, Bertha, you won't be feeling good if I didn't ask you any question. So, now it's your turn, Bertha. As a media analyst, can you please tell us how do the social media affects the gender and identity?
Gender that is portrayed in social media is different from what we see in real life. As we know, the image given in social media has damaged the thinking of new generation. For example, men. What is your first impression? Definitely handsome, muscular, rich, popular man. Woman too. Our image of woman is slim, young-looking, white, long hair, smart, hardworking, popular, and versatile in everything. Like she can do anything or everything in the same time lah. Sometimes our expectation of the gender are a bit absurd. How can a human being be so perfect? It's all just an expectation. These expectations are quite toxic for the younger generation actually. As we saw in Korea, it seems that everyone know what happening to the young generation in Korea. They are pressured to be perfect in everything and beautiful and handsome at the same time. Most of their parents encourage them to do plastic surgery to look beautiful like what people want. Beauty and the brand. If their children get good results in the exams, parents give presents such as plastic surgery to change the original shape of their eyes or their nose, because there is the most popular plastic surgery in Korea, changing their eyes shape and their nose. And this is quite toxic for young children. But all this expectation of beauty and the brand are more emphasized on women. Men, as long as they're being smart is enough lah. As long as the old generation thinking is not changed, the younger generation will not stop blaming themselves for not being perfect enough.
Meaning that, Bertha, you're saying people not only filtering, they are also altering their facial and faces to portray their identity in social media. Wow. Okay, fantastic panels or special guest. Thank you so much for making the question mark in our mind became thumbs up. Thanks again for your superb sharing. Your sharing is caring. So, share this podcast to your family and friend. So, we will keep entertaining and inspiring in this podcast. I think you are wise now on media usage. Take time and think. Until next time, this is the end. I am your favorite friend Tamil and this is your Inner Voice Podcast.